Hey guys, it's me, Pokemon. Today I want to talk about the new meta we've been seeing sort of coming to Marvel Strike Force within the most recent patches. We've seen a new meta sort of focused around preset teams of characters, and what I mean by that is sort of the Defenders team. If you see here with Daredevil, he has a lot of tags now that are like enhanced senses. He has a lot of stuff that works with Defenders. Throw Baton, I believe that also has a lot of tags that are related to Defenders. With Iron Fist, you can now see him. He also has a lot of tags that are focused around the Defenders. I believe on, not on this one, but on his heal. He can heal self and all defender allies for a certain amount of health, and then it does a little bit less if it's a city hero. So he'll only heal one city hero, but he'll heal all defenders. So he's kind of supposed to be on a defenders team, and then he has a 30% chance to heal self and defender allies for 10% of this character's max health on his turn. Again, I don't have maxed out skills for Iron Fist, but as you can see, you know, this character heavily focuses on working with the defenders team. That's where the defenders are best nowadays. If you put Luke Cage, Daredevil, Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, and Punisher, as you can see on this website, msf.gg. A lot of really great synergy with these characters. I mean, look at all those little effects with all these characters. That's great. It's awesome that the defenders are so good nowadays, but that sort of leaves some other characters sort of homeless. That's the term I'm going to be using for them. So now you have this awesome team of defenders: Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Luke Cage, and Punisher. Punisher goes in there because he synergizes really well with Daredevil. But Night Nurse, now what do you do with her? In my opinion, she used to be the 5th character you'd put with the city heroes. I mean, you could argue different characters for city heroes, but I kind of like to put her in there because she was city, she was a hero, she healed, so that was kind of nice because Iron Fist wasn't exactly healing. So Night Nurse was usually that 5th character I used, but now that Punisher is really that 5th character you should be using with the Defenders team, where's Night Nurse go? I know she's still very useful for raids, but I'm talking like to optimize these characters. You know, there's no real optimal team for Night Nurse to be in. Now she's just sort of a character that you can throw into whatever team. And that sort of disappoints me because I think, you know, when you see compared to Iron Fist and Luke Cage and Daredevil and Jessica Jones, what they can do together, you know, and then you have Night Nurse sort of left behind now to just sort of be a good character that can really help out a team if she's put in the right circumstance, but she doesn't have like a, you know, like a big team that you put on. We can also see this with Nick Fury, all the special effects he has with the shield minions. Holy cow. Now Nick Fury works great with nearly any hero character. He's an incredible character, but he really excels when he's with the shield minions, so that's great. You know, that's awesome that he sort of buffs a team of minions that really weren't all that good. But say, you know, you have the shield minions, you have 5 shield minions total: assault, medic, operative, security, and trooper. If you want to put Nick Fury on that team, you got to boot one of the shield minions out, and then that leaves, you know, say you remove shield operative. You know, where's shield operative gonna go now? What's the team that shield operative can really excel at? And you know, she's incredible when she's with Nick Fury, but on her own, you know, Shield Operative isn't that great. And so we find a lot of characters that are just left behind because they don't necessarily fit into the big team synergy. You know, Avengers, you know, you can see like Captain America, Black Widow, Iron Man, you know, Hulk, maybe, you know, Vision. That's maybe one of the better Avengers focused teams you could build. But that kind of leaves Black Panther off to the side. Where does Black Panther go? You know, there's not really room for another damage dealer in the 5 Avengers team. And if you're not putting Black Panther with a lot of the Avengers, he's not receiving a lot of those buffs the Avengers give each other. And he's sort of just off on his own now, and he doesn't really have a place in the game. Now, I do think eventually they're going to build up Black Panther as a sort of a Wakandan-focused character. They're going to bring a lot more Wakandan characters in, as we could see with Okoye. And then Black Panther, that's sort of going to be his team in the game, a Wakandan team, maybe some Wakandan minions. Maybe they could just bring in more Wakandan people like Shuri or Manape. There's a lot of really fun Black Panther characters they could bring in that I think he could synergize well with. You see this again in the Guardians team. The team I go for usually with Guardians is Groot, Rocket Raccoon, Star-Lord, Gamora, and Thanos, because I just think Thanos is a better tank than Drax. I know Drax also shares the Guardians tags, but Thanos still shares enough tags with the Cosmic tag that I think he still works with them without being an actual Guardian. But that leaves Drax off to the side. Where do you put Drax now? He doesn't really do that great if he's not with the Guardians of the Galaxy, but he's not as good as Thanos, so you're not going to be using him with the Guardians. There's just a lot of these characters I think you can find that are sort of homeless right now. They've been booted off of their main team of 5, so now they're just sort of floating around in the middle of nowhere, and there's no real set team to put them on. I know there are certain team comps that, you know, Drax could excel at, but the optimal team comp comp. You know, there is no optimal team comp, in my opinion, right now for characters like Drax. And you can see some characters who just simply do not excel because they do not have a team to base themselves around. Thor, I assume they're going to do an Asgardian team one day. There's no other Asgardians right now, so Thor is not that great of a character, because if we scroll down to Thor, his passive, he gets, I mean, there is some massive potential here. He gets 10% damage for each Asgardian allied with 15% bonus damage at base. I mean, that is like 65% bonus damage at base for Thor. That is crazy. But right now, all we have is Loki right now to really buff himself up. So, you know, Thor doesn't really have a place in the meta right now. Another character I'd consider homeless is Miss Marvel. She is pretty much built, she was another character that really could have gone with the Defenders, since because you had Daredevil, Iron Fist, they were both brawlers, so Miss Marvel did really well with them. But now Punisher's just the better pick compared to Miss Marvel. But without any Inhumans, which she's inevitably going to work really well with, she just doesn't have an optimal place to go in the game. Of course, you can throw her under some teams and she'll still do good, but there's no team right now in the game that she does great in. And that's sort of the weird place you leave a lot of characters. Same thing with Venom, Spider-Man. Spider-Man, he could have also worked well with Defenders, but now that the Defenders team is maxed out, Spider-Man just sort of is okay in some teams now. Venom, you know, he's okay and he's better with Spider-Man, but Spider-Man and Venom isn't enough to really fill out a team. I think generally speaking, what you want to go for there is Vision and then Scarlet Witch. That way you have a lot of debuffs to spread around with Venom. I just think that's probably one of the best team comps you could go for with those guys. But I just, you know, I think eventually Spider-Man's going to get a lot more Spider-Men that come into the game. You know, Miles Morales, Spider-Man 2099, you're going to build a team around the Spider-Men. But right now, Spider-Man doesn't really have a team of 5 to go in. I could also go into how this problem sort of faces the X-Men right now. Wolverine, I think he'll be a great character one day once we have characters like Cyclops or Professor X, if we get Professor X as a playable character, that sort of come down the line, and then they actually really buff up the X-Men characters. You know, right now, Wolverine, he's just sort of okay, but if he got some nice synergies with some X-Men, he would be a great character. Same thing with Storm, and then I think Deadpool and Cable, you know, they're both mutants and they work well together, but they don't exactly have a full mutant team yet to really make the most out of them. Now, personally, I enjoy the team synergy. I enjoy seeing characters that work well with each other in the comic books, work well with each other in the game. So the best way to fix this, I think, is to make sure that whenever you add a team of characters, you always add them in increments of 5. So say for the Defenders, you could add Colleen Wing, Misty Knight, Hellcat, and then, I don't know, pick some other random defending character to throw in there. That way you have 10 total defender-ish characters. And that way the question doesn't become who gets left behind, but instead what is the optimal teams of 5 to put these characters in. But again, this isn't a huge problem at the moment, but I just want this to be kept in mind, as we can see some characters that maybe aren't perceived as that great right now, but are actually probably going to be great characters once the appropriate team comes out for them. But that's just because they don't fit into the meta right now, where you have very preset team focused meta builds right now. So just, you know, some characters like Kamala Khan just get left behind in that. Well, let me know what you think down below about this problem. Do you think it's that big of a deal? Do you think it's something they should look to fix? Do you think, should they just flat out remove team effects? Should they focus less on team effects or more on making the individual character good? I think they should keep team effects. Do you think they should go through and make sure every team has increments of 5 so that way you could go through and build an optimal amount of teams with the characters? With that being said, guys, what do I know? I am just a 16-year-old. I'll see you guys later. Signing off, guys. Oh, before I go, I'd like to say we are super duper close to 2,500 subs. We've been very close for a long time now. So if just, you know, 5 of you want to hit the subscribe button that are watching, just, that'd be really appreciated. If we could reach 2,500, that'd be very nice. Very, very good for the ego, you know. See you guys later. Thanks, guys.